welcome to the Putting That Together show. I'm Rose,
And I'm CJ Joseph, CEEJAY, her part-time co-host. And we are so excited, so elated, so ecstatic to have you on joining us on the Putting You Back Together Again show. Talk to us, Coach Rowe.
Yes. Well, today we're talking about all things credit from a personal and business perspective. Why does it matter? Well, I'm glad you asked. Credit is important because it allows you to access goods and services if you don't have cash to buy it, such as buying a home, going on a vacation, buying a new car, any high ticket item, right? You need some credit.
Preach.
And it empowers businesses to purchase resources, equipment, or professional services like marketing, advertising, promotions, coaching, those types of things. Good credit is critical because it lowers your cost of borrowing from the banks and it opens doors for you. Good credit is also helps you to get a job because guess what? Employers are also doing credit checks. It's not just criminal background checks. You got to have good jacked up credit. You cannot get a job these days.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's why I didn't get that gig.
Is that why you didn't get hired?
God dog it.
We'll talk about that later.
I can help you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, that's right. He can help you with that. In fact, research shows that 1 in 10 Americans were denied work because of bad credit.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Wow.
So companies are tying this into character and integrity. That's right. So your credit is like your brand. So credit management should be a high priority. And that's why we have a very special guest live in studio with us. Woo, Mr. Ron Stallings.
Yes. Well, of course, she just introduced a slight introduction of Mr. Ron Stallings, but allow me to just read just a touch of his bio. He's a native of East Chicago, Indiana, and a graduate of Eastern Illinois University. Ron has more than 3 decades of banking experience in the commercial credit card space as a senior vice president of banking payment systems. We got an SVP in the house, y'all.
All right. He's an expert.
Yes. As a senior vice president of banking sales, Ron is tasked with developing sales strategies, financial coaching, and business plans for Fortune 100 companies, which has significantly increased their bottom lines year after year after year after year. Personally, Ron has been a member of that esteemed fraternity founded on the campus of Indiana University, Bloomington, January 5th, 1911.
All right.
Kappa Alpha Psi.
Alpha. And I'm an Alpha Angel. So.
Okay.
For the past 4 decades, and is a board member of the Spring Woodlands and Huntsville alumni chapter. In addition, he serves as a board member to Caduceus Incorporated, which is an educational career hands-on training company, and serves as a board chairman. Y'all hear that? Board chairman for the Impact Foundation, where the goal of the foundation is to provide scholarships, y'all, to high school students in the greater Houston area.
Awesome.
Ron and his family reside in Houston, and he's actively involved in this church where we all attend, Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, 3826 Wheeler Avenue, Houston, Texas, 77004, where Reverend Dr. Marcus D. Cosby is our pastor.
And the Bible says.
Yes. And also serving the community by providing financial and sales coaching, consulting to small businesses throughout these United States. Ron, welcome. Thank you for joining us on the show. Before we actually kick off the show, some of you, if you listen to the news today, we lost a giant of a man. Our founding pastor emeritus, Reverend William Alexander Lawson, made the transition today. A great man, a great pastor, a great leader, a great father, a great husband, a great civil rights leader, a great artist, a great, you just fill in the blank. We lost a giant, but he leaves a legacy that is like none other. So with that being said, our heartfelt condolences and our passionate prayers go out to the family of William A. Lawson, to his second family, the Cosbys, and of course to our beloved church community of Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. So we are going to take a moment of silence to honor our founding pastor, Reverend William Alexander Lawson, Houston's pastor.
Yes.
Bless your name. Amen. Well, Ron, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ron is our first in-studio guest.
I feel honored.
Yeah, well, you ought to be.
Yes. Right. You're special.
I feel honored.
So, we've introduced you, gave you your bio, things of that nature. Give us a word quickly on you.
Mhm.
Who is Ron?
Well, I've been in corporate America for 30 years, and credit has been my forte for that period of time. And I'm passionate about credit. And one of the reasons I'm passionate about credit because I didn't know anything about credit. And so when I talk to you for the next hour, it's not something I read. It's not something I heard about.
Something you know.
It's something I know.
All right.
I could talk about, and we'll talk about bankruptcy, not once, but twice. Being in debt more than six figures. It's seven.
That's ouch.
Yeah. But the good news is you can recover.
Okay.
It takes time, but you can recover. So sometimes, like Reverend Lawson, if I can just impart one thing to one person,
Yes.
I've done my job.
Great.
So it's a blessing to be here, and I'm looking forward to having a great conversation.
Thank you.
Well, we're looking to reach one,
Mhm.
teach one.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to kick it off. Now, you mentioned that you were passionate about credit.
Yes.
What is your motivation for being passionate about credit?
Well, let me start with my parents. My parents
Okay.
are from the South. My
Okay.
dad has a grade school education.
Mhm.
And so we didn't have credit.
Okay.
So at that time, everything was brought in, went right back out. They didn't have no
Okay.
401k,
Right.
no
Yeah.
IRA,
Yeah.
none of that.
Yeah.
And so when we took that annual trip to Mississippi every year, my mother would put money to the side.
Mhm.
So we wasn't going until we had enough money.
Mm.
And so when I finally got out of college, when I had my first credit card, I just like, okay, they gave me some credit.
You're right.
I didn't know I had to pay it on time.
Now, was she putting that money in the mattress?
She put it in an envelope.
Oh.
And only she knew where that envelope was.
So no one,
No.
dipped the hand in the
No,
cookie jar.
no. Only
Yeah.
she knew. My dad didn't even know where it was.
He didn't even know.
But here's the funny thing. When we went to the South in Mississippi during those trips, she had the gas money. She had the money where we stopped on the side of the road, got a hamburger. And she's like, we're not stopping until we get to X city.
Wow.
So what I'm getting at, it was discipline.
Yes.
And
Yes.
until
Yes.
when I
yes.
came along and credit became available,
Right.
there was no discipline. I was like, oh, you gave me a credit card? Okay, buy this, buy that. And then it's like, oh, well, when nobody told me it was due. I just thought I'd pay it when it
At your leisure.
At my leisure. Until I got my first credit report. Then I'm like, first of all, what is a credit report?
What is a credit? We're going to talk
We're gonna
about
talk about
we're going to talk about Uncle FICO.
Yeah.
So when I did all that, I just like, you know what? And I'll tell it now, bankruptcy, and I'll tell anybody, never, ever, 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 and I say it again, ever file bankruptcy if you don't need to.
Let me
you
write that
can
down, good
Yeah.
people.
Ever,
Yeah.
because I did a chapter 7 in my 20s.
Wow.
In chapter 7, they write everything off, if you didn't know that.
Okay.
So chapter 7, when they write it off, it stays on your credit report for 7 years.
Wow.
So I don't care how well you do things, and you alluded to it in the top of the show, where companies look at your credit and they look, see if there's a bankruptcy. Oh no, he don't know how to handle no money.
Yeah.
So you're out.
Yep.
So while you're doing things right in the next few years,
Right.
it's still on your report.
Still on the report.
Another story, a few years ago, I would say 10, 12 years ago, I had a business, and my attorney told me to file a chapter 13. And something told me, don't do it.
Yeah.
13, by the way, is restructure.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And so some said, don't do it. So I called another friend. He's like, Ron, don't do that. I literally took the next day, went back down to the court and said, hey, I'm sorry, I filled this out the wrong way. It took a year to get it off my record.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So again, when I talk about know some stuff,
You really know some
I
stuff.
know. And
Yeah.
that's why I said it's better to work with a creditor to work out a payment plan.
Yeah.
Even if they write it off.
Yeah.
But to have that bankruptcy on your record, you do not want that.
It's a stain, y'all.
Yeah, it's a stain.
Yeah,
It's more than a stain.
and you got to scrub.
It's called an albatross around your neck. So you do, and I mean that sincerely.
Yeah,
You do
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
want that on your credit report. So that's why I've become so passionate. And there's a lot of minorities that just don't know, because just like there's first generation kids that go to college.
That's right.
These are first generations. Like, okay, I got credit. What do I do with this?
What do you do? What do you do?
And we could talk about it. I have more stories for the next 2 hours.
Right.
Somebody makes $50,000, but they want $80,000 in credit cards.
That ain't gonna work, y'all.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
But they saw it on TikTok.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Oh gosh, let's not
So believe everything on TikTok.
don't believe
right?
everything.
Yeah,
It's the
right.
process.
That's the process.
So again, I'm passionate about it because I don't want people to make the same mistakes.
Right.
And I'm
That's
very
it.
transparent about it.
Right.
I don't mind telling someone I made those mistakes,
Right.
because if I made it and can bounce back from it, you can too.
exactly.
So, and my goal is, if I can give you hope, you're gonna make it.
Like
That's
Jesse
it.
Jackson, keep hope
Keep
alive.
hope alive.
That's what counts.
Yes.
All right. So help us understand about the credit bureaus, how things are reported, when they're reported, and then is there a credit agency that's more important, that has more weight than the other?
Not really. That's a double-edged sword question. You got three credit bureaus. You got Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion.
Okay.
They all report. What you want to know is, and it takes a few minutes when you call your credit. Let's say you have a credit card. You want to find out when they report to the agency. So I'm making this up. Let's
Okay.
just say they report on the 29th.
Okay.
What you want to have is a low credit utilization on the 29th. So
Okay.
let's talk about credit utilization.
Okay. Yeah, we had that one of those questions, but let's talk about it right now.
Let's talk about it now.
Yes.
So what that simply means is, if you got $100 on your credit card,
Right.
you want to get it below 30%. So you want to get it down, pay it off if you can, but it want to be less than 30. So you want, when they report, it says you owe $30 on that $100.
Okay.
You have a great credit utilization.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
that doesn't mean tomorrow you go back and put something else on the card, because you got a new cycle.
Right.
But if you don't know that, your credit utilization is going to be 80%.
Right.
So
You don't want to overutilize.
no.
Yeah.
And so what's the impact to overutilization? It's going to affect how you get credit.
Yeah.
And how you get credit is does somebody basically want to say, do I want to lend this person some money? They overutilize. Or they got 10 credit cards and 8 of them are maxed out.
Oh.
So does that mean they're high risk?
They are.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Again, I like to keep things really simple.
Yeah.
Let's do it this way. You check my credit report and I say, Rochelle, I need to borrow $1,000. And you just look at it and you see I owe everybody and their mama. What's the chances of you loaning me $1,000?
Zero.
Next.
So why would you think a bank is going to be any different or credit union?
That's
They're
right.
looking at it.
They're looking at it.
So you want to make sure that you are doing those things to make sure your credit is impactful.
Okay.
So FICO, which is Fair Isaac Corporation, you don't need to know all that. That started about in the 50s and 60s. It was a way for companies to assess, should we loan you money? And what that simply said is, how do you pay your bills on time? If you pay your bills on time, then you're more apt to get a loan for a house, a car, restructure a loan, etc.
Right.
So that was what it was designed for. It wasn't designed to put you in a bind. It was just an indicator.
Right.
And unfortunately, nowadays, you don't have the luxury of knowing a banker. Everything is online.
That's right.
Years ago, you used to go in the bank. You're like, oh, I know CJ.
Exactly.
You know my mama, you know my daddy.
Exactly.
If I ain't good, my daddy good.
Exactly. He can co-sign for me.
Co-sign.
Yeah.
Now you're just a number. So whatever that social security number says, you are that number. So you can talk all day long, and that teller or agent at the bank is going to say, I'm sorry, you're just not going to get it.
Now, hold on. Now, Brother Michael, do we have some question in the chat?
Yes, sir. We have on Instagram.
Okay.
On Instagram, we have tuned in the real Elijah. Let me see if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The real Elijah Watkins is
Okay.
tuned in on Instagram, and the first comment from he or she is Equifax. Equifax, one of the three major credit bureaus in the U.S., was hacked between May and July 2017.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The breach exposed personal information of 147.9 million Americans, 15.2 billion British citizens. She wrote a book. That's only some of it. She then went on to say, is their data accurate with their system? Is the data accurate with their system? When we give them more information, is our information safe with them? She went on and said, TransUnion was hacked in March 2023 when a hacker stole 3 gigabytes of information for approximately 58,505 people. Experian, on another of the three major credit bureaus, was hacked in September 15th. So back to her question, are they accurate with the system? And when we give them more information, is our information safe?
It's supposed to be safe. So let me help through all of that great information.
Yeah, thank you for chiming in.
They alluded to. The key is if you think your information is not safe, or if you think it's been breached, and again, let's take it down to a granular level. You applied for a card at Macy's and you were denied. You should ask Macy's, where did you get your information? And Macy's should be able to tell you, here is where I got it from, and here's what it said. By law, you should get a letter within 30 days as to why your credit was denied. So yes, it should be safe, but this is a different topic for a different day of AI and hacking. So that's a whole nother conversation. But don't just take somebody's word for it that says my information is good. It's if you got denied, find out the reason you got denied.
Yes.
Because that information they have may be incorrect.
Right.
For example, it could be Ron Stallings, but it could be Ron A. Stallings. I don't have a middle initial.
That's true. Yeah. That's good.
Just that little bit can make a big difference.
Yeah.
So that's why I said you need to find out why it was denied and get that letter in writing as to why it was denied. Great information as to the data, and which is always, we got to be careful on breaches.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for chiming in with that question. Good people, we are taking phone calls at 832-560-2885. And not to mention, we will be giving away 2 complimentary 30-minute consultation sessions via Zoom with Mr. Stallings.
So business or personal?
Business or personal, because we're talking about personal right now, but we will dive into some business as well for all of you business owners or those who are looking to become business owners. So keep tuned in. You never know who's going to be one of the complimentary winners. So stay tuned in. 832-560-2885. Now, name some of the common misconceptions people have about Mr. Credit.
Credit doesn't affect me. It's going to work its way out. It's going to work itself out.
Like
some
the laundry
magical way. It's going to. I don't know how, but it's going to work its way out.
It'll be all right, baby.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
No.
Or you know what? Let me just get another credit card to pay this credit card. So that's a misconception. It doesn't work. So I always say, understand what you're getting into when you get these credit cards.
Right.
And let me dive a little deeper when I say understand. Terms. What's the APR? Annual percentage rate? What's the interest rate? Because a misconception is if I just pay this every month, you need to figure out how long it's going to take you to pay that $10,000 credit card.
Right.
And it could be on average, it could be years before you do. Oh, wow. And again, I'm in banking, so I'll divulge some secrets. We hoping you pay the minimum.
Exactly.
Because if you ever look at your house or car and you get that statement, what's the first thing you see? Interest is the majority of that payment.
Yeah, exactly. And
then principal.
Yeah, exactly. So out of $100, I'm making this. It may be $80 in interest, $20 in principal.
That's it.
Right.
Well, think how long you're going to pay that off.
Forever.
But the misconception is, oh, I'm paying it. I'm doing good.
I'm on time.
But Jesus is gonna come before I pay it off.
The
So-
rapture.
Yeah. So it's really, and I always say, and I mean this, get with somebody that knows credit, just to bounce questions off. Is this a good credit card? Is this a bad credit card?
Right.
Every credit card is not a good credit card.
That's
Right.
right.
Every bank is not a good credit card. This comes up a lot of times when I'm talking to folks, is saying, should I go with a bank or should I go with a credit union? Even though I work for a bank, I'm an advocate of a credit union. Credit
Me too.
unions are more favorable
Yes.
for house loans.
Yes.
car loans.
Yes.
And if you notice, they have more, not tellers, bankers,
Uh-huh.
where you can get a chance to know those.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes companies will have credit unions, but if you don't, I always suggest have your money in a bank, but
Okay.
also get money in a credit union
Oh, great idea.
and have both.
And they're both
So-
covered.
Both
Yeah.
covered
Yeah.
by the FDIC.
Yes.
Yeah.
And secondly, when you get ready to buy a house car, like who's going to give me the better rate?
Well, there you go.
Which is another misconception. Let's put all our eggs in one basket.
basket.
Uh-uh.
All my savings account is with this bank. Checking account.
Diversify.
Diversification is very key.
That's it.
I got about 10, 15 email addresses, and I got about 10, 15 banks. No, I'm just kidding.
Uh-oh.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
And no, it isn't. As
It
long as you
really
keep track
Keep
Yeah.
track
of where your money is.
That's what you have to do.
Well, now you're leading, and I'm sorry if I'm digressing.
That's
But
okay.
one of the things that I always tell people is you should be checking your account every other day,
Yeah.
minimum
Mhm.
once a week.
Regularly.
Mhm.
As I mentioned my parents at the top of the show, I check their account every day
Yeah.
Mhm.
because hackers, Russian, Chinese
That's true.
hackers,
of
Nigerian hackers,
Yeah.
they're on the prowl.
Mhm.
Yes.
And you've seen stories, 60 Minutes, wherever,
Mhm.
they wipe out your entire account.
Yep.
You do.
Now, doesn't
Yep.
mean you're not covered, but think about it. If it happens on the 28th
Mhm.
and all your bills are due on the 1st,
That's right.
what you going to do?
Yeah. See, you're
So-
in a tight spot.
And so a lot of times banks will say you didn't report this until 20 days, 30 days.
Right.
You
Right.
want to report that as soon
As soon as
Yeah,
possible. As soon as possible.
So I
That's
check.
awesome.
I always say check your account, even if you got $2. Make sure them $2
Yeah.
is still.
So because they're your
Your
$2.
$2.
That's right.
I had a
Hard
very
earned.
good friend of mine when I was in the car business years ago,
Uh-huh.
and we got paid on commission,
Right.
100% commission.
Uh-huh.
He says, "This is Little Big Junior." He says, "I want every dime.
Uh-huh.
That's mine."
That's right. That's right.
That's right. I don't
So if
blame
it's just
them.
$2, those are your $2.
My last $2. My last $2.
We're gonna keep this above board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to do
yeah.
here. You want to check your account, diversify your accounts.
Mhm, mhm.
Again, we can talk about interest rates, but that's another
Yeah.
big thing. And did you have a question? 'Cause
Oh,
can keep
I
going.
do. Yes, no, I know, and you're on a roll.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering too, if someone's credit has become impaired or jacked up, what are some strategies that they can utilize, leverage to help them improve their credit?
Well, number one, call the creditor. So often we want to not call. You know that proverbial, the creditors call. Hey, Ron, ABC comes on. Tell him I ain't here. Tell him I ain't here.
And they can hear in the background.
They know. The first thing is let them know, you know what, I'm late.
Yeah.
I don't even have the money.
Yeah.
So can we set up a payment plan?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, you're at the mercy of them because you don't have any money, so they can charge you whatever.
Whatever. Exactly.
But what you're trying to do, and you can ask this,
Mhm.
if you're okay, don't report it to the credit bureau. until-
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
You can request that.
What's that old saying? You don't get until you ask.
That's right. I have
That's
not, 'cause
right.
I asked not.
Right.
That's right.
So
Wow.
as long as I'm making this $10, if you
Right.
don't mind, don't report it.
Okay.
Soon as I miss, report it.
Report it.
Because they have the power.
They do.
Wow.
But if you don't, we think whatever they
Wow.
tell us,
Wow.
we got to do it. No, they
Wow,
don't. No, we don't. If we just ask,
Wow.
and again, so if their credit, using your words, jacked up, number one, acknowledge it.
Yeah.
I don't have the money. I lost
Exactly.
my job. Just money's tight, but I can give you $5, $10,
Okay. Something.
something.
Yeah.
Because they want their money anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's true.
Now, and then put yourself on their side. Their side of the table is saying to the manager is, hey, I got Ron to commit to $10 a day, a
Mhm.
week, whatever.
Mhm.
Well, I would get a check mark because I got you to commit.
Mm.
Versus, I ain't paying y'all.
Exactly.
I ain't paying y'all. Y'all call till Jesus come. I ain't paying you. Well, that person doesn't get any commission
Right.
because they did not get you to commit.
Oh.
So that's
So-
part of a sales job too when you're
Exactly.
on the phone.
So, and guess what they're going to do? They're going
Ooh.
to start high. Can you pay $100 a month?
Mm.
No, that's too much. Can you pay $80?
Yeah.
I tell you what, and I'm committing 20 because I know I can give you 20.
You know you can give them 20.
When I can get more, I will let you know.
Mhm.
But what I like in return is if you not report it.
Mhm.
And if we have an agreement, send me that in the writing,
Yeah.
and then I'll start making payments.
Wow.
Always get it in black and white.
That's
Mhm.
right. And you can negotiate these
Wow,
things.
that
I
was
didn't
some-
know that's
that was-
negotiable.
Well,
Some nuggets.
Everything's negotiable. But again, that
This
doesn't
is
mean
true.
they're going to say yes. It's just you ask.
Yeah.
Right,
We just have the propensity of, that's what they said.
right,
Okay, I
right.
got to pay
right.
$100 a month.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know where I'm going to get the $100. Then you're defaulting on the $100.
Right.
When you
Mhm.
should have just said, I can only give you $20.
Got you. Okay. That makes sense.
I'm calling them tomorrow.
All 12 of them.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Now we
Yes.
talked about personal credit and really why it's important. Coach Rowe talked about how it can impact getting a house, a car,
Mhm.
a job, and things of that nature.
Mhm.
Now, but you touched on interest rate and APR.
Mhm.
Explain to us why those are different.
Interest rate is what you sign in layman's terms. Is the APR? Let me start there. Is the APR what it costs you to have that money out per day?
Mm.
Okay.
The interest rate, short story, is what they charge you for that car when you left the dealership.
Okay.
The APR is going to be more than what the interest rate is. So
okay.
So I think without getting hung up on interest rates and APRs,
Mhm.
the question you should always be asking, what is my out-of-pocket expenses for the month for this car, for this house?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
again, we can go in and say that they'll tell you, the car is going to be $500 a month.
Okay.
You should be asking, what's the interest rate on that? If it's 22%, the question is, how did you arrive at that?
Okay.
Let me
Okay.
see the credit report that you use,
Okay.
because it could be 18, it
Yeah.
could be 12.
Right.
Mhm.
But again,
Right.
we just so quick to say, okay, but we already know our credit's jacked up. We just happy to get the car.
Yeah.
I
We
just
know.
want to roll out of here.
Yeah, 20% interest rate. We don't care. Double digits.
And it's a Benz too. So come on now. I'm rolling. So it's important to know, and this leads me to another question while I'm thinking about it.
Sure.
We all have gotten or may get in the mail that you've been pre-approved for a credit card.
Mm.
And you think, hey, first of all, how did they know my name?
Oh,
Secondly,
they know you.
how
They
much
know you.
did I get credit for? And I'm going to call and get another credit card.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Be ye, as the Bible says, be ye not deceived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to read the fine
You
print.
have to.
So, and I'm in the banking business. So what they will do, excuse me, please, is buy a list from different banks, Equifax, whatever. Give me everybody that has a credit score between 500 and 800.
Okay.
Ah.
Now,
That'd be a lot of people.
that'd be a lot.
Yeah.
And
That'd be
so
a lot
what
of
they're
people.
hoping is they'll send that letter out and say you pre-approved.
Right.
Based on that letter, then you have to ask, how much am I pre-approved for?
Mm.
Mhm.
And that's when you pick up the phone. You don't
Okay.
just, let me sign it and get the credit card.
Right.
Here's why. Because most of those, the credit limit is not extensive. When I say extensive, 10, 20, 30, it's going to be 2,000, 2,500.
Right. Something really low.
Okay.
Low.
Yeah.
They just want to get you on the hook at 12, 14, 18% interest.
Or even higher.
Or even higher.
Yeah.
When we all know, I need the 2,000, but that ain't going to help me.
Right.
I need 20,000 or 22,000.
Yeah.
So read that,
Mm.
call them, and then ask, what is the credit limit that I'm approved for?
Wow.
And what they'll tell you is, you got to fill out the application,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, now it's a double-edged sword.
Mhm.
Now you got a ding on your credit report as an
Oh,
inquiry.
reserve-
Right.
Yeah. Pull your
Yep.
Credit. Yeah.
Yep.
So is that 2,000, 3,000 really worth it just because I've been solicited?
Right.
Now, that leads to another question. You get questions about, hey, my bank, my credit union wants me to refinance my house or car
Oh.
for a lower interest rate.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay, sounds good, right?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So the question you should be asking is, if they give me a lower interest rate, and let's say I had a 60-month credit loan for the car,
Mhm.
is that lower interest rate for 60 months
Mm.
or the remaining balance of my car loan?
Ah.
Because here's what usually happens. So if you get the lower rate, you basically starting all over again.
over again.
Oh.
So what happened to those payments that you made for the first year?
Right.
they're out the window.
They're out the window.
Wow.
But all we hear is XYZ is going to give me credit for 5.8 on refinancing my car versus 11. Sounds great.
Right.
But the question is it from where at 36 months that I owe left, or you're going to do it all at 60 months? More than likely it's 60 because then you got a lower rate.
You got a lower rate.
Not lower rate. You got a lower rate and a lower payment.
But then they have you on the hook for a longer period of time.
Right. And then if you do the math, those first 24 months, where does that money go? You just gave that money away.
You just gave it away. So you're paying more in the end.
In the end.
So now let me that's a
wow.
Good people, if you all are listening to this. Someone I just ran across someone recently and they mentioned they refinanced their car.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a shaky situation at best. But now let me ask you this. Are you able to, if you have to refinance your car and you ask, are they going to start back over or are they going to start from that point on?
Mm-hmm.
Can you negotiate that?
Oh, yeah.
Everything's negotiable.
Everything's negotiable.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
But again,
Yes.
we're just so accustomed that they told me that the interest is going to be 5.7 and I can get a lower payment and my payment is going to be $400.
Right. We're just focused on the rate and we're focused on the payment.
Yeah, lower the payment.
Yeah, that's
I
what
was
we're
paying
focused on.
$800 a month.
Right.
Oh man, do you know what I could do with an extra $400? I love it.
Yeah.
But go a step further.
Mhm.
Am I paying $400 now for the next 60 months or for the next 36 months?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, okay, I can do it because I paid this money before up front.
Right.
Why am I going to pay it again?
Right, because they already have that money, quote unquote, in the bank.
Mm-hmm. And so it may be, now let me give them some credit.
Wow.
It may be, we're going to pick up right where you left off. Great. But the key is ask the questions.
That's right.
those
Don't
questions.
assume. Don't assume.
Yeah.
And then get it in writing before you sign.
Black and white.
This $400, because then it becomes, I can work with this. Even if it's a higher interest rate at $400, but I'm only doing it for 36 months.
Exactly.
I can live with that.
Exactly.
Because it's 36 months.
Exactly.
But if I got to do it for 60 months, we got a problem.
Yeah.
Because that 24 months prior, where did all that money go?
Wow.
That's very similar to, my industry outside from acting, entertaining, show business, et cetera, is life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
That's similar to if someone had a policy for 5 years and they let it go.
That's it.
Shame on you.
Yeah. But let's be honest. But let's be honest. If you're 30, 40 years old, first of all, you think you're invincible.
Yeah.
And you don't need it if money is tight.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like I say, I've been through all of this. So you let the life insurance money go to give you a little more room, and you always have that, I'm going to get it back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But again, what all of this is, if nothing else you get from this call today, is we have in America a spending problem.
Say it again.
Even the government has a spending problem.
Because credit is not bad, because we just want, and this is true, we use ourselves. When we want it, when do we want it?
Now.
Instantly now.
Now.
Because here's an example. And I go back to my parents. If you know today is May, right?
Mm-hmm.
Christmas is in 7 months. You should be putting away money for Christmas gifts now.
Exactly.
Just money.
Exactly.
Instead of charging it all up.
Here's the 5 people I'm getting gifts for.
That's it.
It's $20 each. I'm putting that in our money.
Exactly.
But what do? We wait till Christmas Eve, put it on my credit card.
It's all about planning and being disciplined about it. And that makes a big difference.
It does.
But we, in a society, and it's not disparaging to anybody, we just like, and I get it. I'm that way too. I like nice
been there,
things.
done that.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, there's repercussions to it.
Mhm.
And as long as you know the repercussions, you can't be mad at anybody.
Mhm.
You're just like, you know what? I got to sit my butt down for a couple of months and not charge anything.
Right.
Just pay this
That's
guy
right.
and get the utilization down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know you're going to buy a car or a house, interest rates are very high. So I don't know about
So
a house.
wait on that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to buy a car, you need to be building your credit. So by the time you get ready to buy the car over Christmas or next year, you got a good credit score to get a favorable rate.
Mm-hmm.
If you wait till December and January and the dealer said, we're having our year-end sale, I'm going to go down there and get me a car. It's fine. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you're going to pay more.
You're
because
You gotta
you
pay
didn't
more.
plan.
You didn't
Right.
plan.
You didn't plan. Exactly.
So I have one more question on the personal side.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say, someone has 3 or 4 or 5 credit cards and they pay them all off. So they've got a zero balance.
Mhm.
Oh, great. I'm debt free. I don't have any more debt. I've got all this excess cash. I can save, invest, whatever. Okay, so then they realize a year and a half, 2 years later, the creditors close all their accounts because they weren't using the card. So how does that impact their credit score?
Well, technically, creditors should not
Right.
close your account. That's technically. You have a right to say, again, I'm not one that suggests to people to have zero
Mhm.
credit
Okay.
on their credit card.
Balance. Uh-huh.
Zero balance.
Mhm.
What that does in a banking industry or credit unions,
Mhm.
let's say you have 5 credit cards
Uh-huh.
and they all total $10,000.
Mhm.
What a creditor will basically say is, you still have access to $10,000.
Correct.
So if I loan you money, do you have ability to pay me with $10,000 over here to the side?
Uh-huh.
So what you want to do, in my opinion, is keep a low balance, $10, $20.
Okay.
Keep it open. And guess what? The utilization is at
Low.
2%,
It's low.
Yes.
3%.
Okay, just use it, pay it off.
Pay
Okay.
it off.
Okay. Don't keep
So-
it at zero. Okay.
Excuse me. But to your question, they should not be closing your account without your permission.
Okay.
Now, they should be sending you a letter, you haven't used it, and you have the right to say, yeah, go ahead and close it. But the one, and I'm going to end this because like I said, I could talk about this for 8 hours. The other thing that you want to do with credit, personal credit, and this is something I implore you to look at, is have an emergency fund for business or personal.
Mm-hmm.
Something going to happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
As sure as we sitting here with your house, car, kids,
Yeah.
something going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Funerals.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen, let's do a GoFundMe for the funeral expenses?
More
right.
times than I can count.
Yeah.
Exactly. So again, as I always say, it's just planning.
Yeah.
Just even if you could put $10 away, first of all, you got to define what an emergency is.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because emergency is not, they got to sell at Saks.
That's not an emergency. Red bottoms is
Red
not an
bottom,
emergency.
Yeah, that man, they want to say that. I couldn't pass it.
I got this picnic coming up and
Yeah,
the club,
I gotta
the
look
concert.
that ain't an emergency.
No.
And here's the other thing: if you're in a family, everybody has to agree to that emergency.
Mm.
Right.
Because if not, husband, wife will come back and say, yeah, they got a sale. Let me just use the money. And guess what? And I've been there. I swear I'm gonna pay it back. I'm gonna put the money back. You ain't.
No. Because if you can put the money back,
You
then
wouldn't have used it in the first place.
Exactly.
So
I want to wrap it up.
Okay.
Maybe on personal credit before we dive into business, LLCs, and things of that nature.
okay.
How often should you check your credit report, and what resources or sources there exist to check your credit for free 99?
What's free 99?
Free.
Oh, for free. I heard the 99. Like, what's 99? There's a report called freecreditreport.com.
Okay.
Freecreditreport.com.
Mm-hmm.
You get an annual credit report. Just look at your credit.
Mhm.
Minimum once a year.
Once a
Okay.
year.
Minimum
Okay.
once a year. And what you're looking for are errors in it.
Mhm.
You pretty much should know, I got these 5 credit cards.
Right.
I know
Right.
what the balances are. What you're looking for is things that don't make sense. Where did I
Mhm.
get a Home Depot card?
Right.
I don't even go to Home
Hmm.
Depot.
I don't even go to Home Depot.
Hmm.
So that's what you're looking for. Now, if you can do it semi-annually, that's my optimum. You may
Mhm.
have to pay for the second one, but at least once a year.
Mhm.
Now, when you're knowing you're going to buy a major purchase,
Right.
you want to stay on top of that credit report
Exactly.
because you want to clean it up
Clean it up.
Yes.
by the time December comes around to buy the car,
Mhm.
take
That's it.
vacation, etc.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's it.
Wow, that good people. That is some great information that Mr. Stallings is dropping for us today. Ron Stallings, give us a call at 832
Yes.
560-2885.
Call
Chime in
us.
with your question. And don't forget, we will dole out 2 complimentary consultation service sessions, personal or business, whichever is your flavor, with Ron Stallings via Zoom. Coach Roy, I think you had a question, correct?
Yeah. So let's. That's a good segue to the business credit
Yes.
side of things. So tell us, Ron, what's the difference between my personal credit score and business credit score?
there's a huge difference. Your business credit score is basically how you pay your suppliers. Your suppliers will report to what's called nav.com, NAV.com, just like personal report to FICO,
right?
Or Experian. I'm sorry, Experian TransUnion. Suppliers report to NAV.
So, okay.
So, but that's to me secondary.
Okay.
The first question is usually, I want to start a business. I don't have the money for business, but I want to get a business loan.
Okay.
Let's start there. Most banks, credit unions, we're going to start with, here's the transition. How is your personal credit?
Yep.
Because if your personal is good, I got a better chance of giving you a business loan.
Right.
But once again, if your personal is jacked up, it's going to be hard to try to give you a business loan.
Keep the best personal credit up, good people.
And most places and people will start with their personal credit to fund. Now, again, I don't want to interchange it, but let's say you don't have the business credit. You go to your credit union and start a business. But honestly, they don't care whether you start a business or not.
Right.
They just know you got good credit. You got a $50,000 line of credit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
Now you can do your business.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, so you got to start with your personal, and personal is paramount if you don't have any business credit.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the first thing they're going to look at is how's your personal.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you're a startup, of course you haven't established any business credit.
Right.
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So now let's dive into Ron and I. We talked about L.L.C'S last week as I'm in the midst of starting one myself. Why would someone start an LLC, and what methods should they go through to start an LLC?
Well, first, and I'll put a caveat here. I'm not a legal profession.
Sure.
But I would always suggest talking to a legal person, what's best for you and your company.
Okay. Okay.
Most small businesses, I can say this, will do an LLC.
Yeah.
It keeps their business separated from their personal.
Okay. Okay.
So that's when you start opening business accounts, business credit cards.
Sure.
So, and if the business fails, it affects your business, not your personal.
Okay. Okay.
But I want to be clear.
Makes sense.
That's when you talk to an accountant and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's the industry I'm in. What do you think is best?
Right. Okay.
But because there's an S corp, there's an LLC, there's a sole proprietorship.
Right.
Right.
There's several. So you just need to know which one. You need to understand which one is which and which is better.
Which is better for you. Okay.
But again,
most
small businesses will have an LLC.
Okay. Even with I'm involved in 2 movies as a producer and on the acting side at some point as well. But even I was in a class recently, and the instructor indicated that if you're starting a movie, put the movie as an LLC. So that protects the producer, the director, and et cetera. So so great point.
Again, at the end of the day, it doesn't come back to CJ.
Exactly.
So if the movie busts, and we pray that it doesn't, it's like, oh, okay, I can move on and get another movie.
Right.
And it doesn't affect your personal.
Right. Huh. Interesting.
But again, talk to an accountant, a legal person, explain, hey, I'm doing movies. Which one is best?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Brother Malcolm, did we get a chime in on the chat? No? Okay, we're good. So we're moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on. So what about doing business as DBAs? So at what point, if people are doing DBAs, should they look at converting it over to an LLC or S corp?
Excuse me, please. You want to establish that up front. Whether you, now, again, I've done this. I was a jackleg entrepreneur. And then it's like,
jackleg.
Ooh, I should get a DBA.
Right. Been there, done that.
I got all these stories. I tell you, I got all these stories. So you want to do, again, this is what I say, learn from my mistakes. Get the DBA early, because now, to answer your question, if you bootlegging and jacklegging, you got to put that on your personal taxes. Now your accountant's like, wait a minute, you don't have any business set up.
Wow.
It's
that's crazy. We're good. Okay.
So where was I? So you want to do your DBA up front.
Okay.
And then, so again, it's like anything else. You start off right.
Okay.
So your first charge, your first purchase of paper, you could write that off.
Okay.
Your first class that you're going to travel on the other side of town, you write that mileage off. So you're not going back and forth with books.
Right.
So you want to set that up front. So there's some forms that you can do, and I wrote all this stuff down.
Okay.
So you can go to sos.state.texas.us to register your business. There's several. You could just Google, how do I register my business?
Okay.
Now, I've had this question while we're on that. Sometimes clients will say, hey, I got to stay away from transportation or trucking or certain industries
Yeah.
because banks frown upon that.
Huh.
Really?
I will take a different approach.
Uh-huh.
Banks like money.
Yeah, that's right.
Hello.
If it's green, it's green.
And if you can make a profitable business, they're going to look and say, yeah, we're going to have you do the loan.
Right.
Now, I would suggest this, and I'll give you an example. Try to make your name of your business more generic, unless that's all you're going to do. Then that way, if you wanted to expand, you don't have to go get another LLC. Case in point, let's use real life examples. Amazon, they sell everything under the sun.
Everything.
Yes.
Contrast to that to a company called Discount Tire. One thing
One thing
Tires.
only.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
tires.
a good point. And my coaching business, putting you back together again, although it's professional coaching, I started a travel agency. But the travel agency is a DBA that's tied and linked to, so it's like a subsidiary.
Yeah.
We have a call coming through.
Caller,
Hello,
thank you for
caller.
calling in.
Yes.
You're on the Putting You Back Together Again show, which our featured guest, Ron Stallings. What's your question? Who we talking
Yes.
to?
Hi there.
Hi, it's Casey Care again. How are y'all today?
Good.
Hey,
Wonderful.
good.
How are
How are
you?
you?
I'm doing great.
Care Bear. Good to hear from
Hi,
you.
Mr. Ron.
Is that Care Bear?
That's Care Bear.
Yes,
Did you get your gift card?
You got your card?
I did. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
We are the people of the word. I'm telling you. Talk to us. What's your question?
So I had a question for Mr. Ron.
Yes.
So I'm an artist, and just to give you a background of the revenue, we usually get about 0.2 to 0.8 of a penny per play with music on all streaming platforms. I wanted to know if a business decision investing in music, do you think that is worth it due to the low revenue streams? Or do you think I should branch off into like a recording studio or something that's like not completely based off of stream?
Well, let me ask a question back to you. Can you make a living off 2.8 or 3 cents?
No.
There's your
There you
answer.
go.
So, and I'm not trying to be coy. I'm just saying, when you look at the dynamics of it, you're not going to make enough living for yourself, let alone a family. And I don't know Care Bear, that's not my business. So you got to look at other streams as to what revenue can I generate. Now, you do bring up a question that most of us don't think about, particularly as entrepreneurs. How much money do I need to live on each month after all of my business expenses are paid? Because now you got to back yourself into it. If I need $5,000, I may need to gross 10 or 15,000. That's hypothetical, obviously. So, and if you're doing 2 cents, 3 cents, you ain't nowhere close to that. So you want to look at other avenues to generate more streams of revenue.
Wow, that's a
Okay.
great question.
Great question. Very good
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a hard thing for us artists to gamble between, because gambling on streams is a big dice roll if you're independent. So I appreciate you so much for answering that question. It has been on my mind for the longest, and today was just the perfect time to ask.
Oh, perfect. It's a great question. Great question.
Reach one, teach one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She talked about streaming. Thank you so much, Care Bear, for calling in. And guess what, Care Bear?
What?
You get a free consultation.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
You're
Listen.
on a roll.
I
You're on a roll.
So, well, I will definitely get with Ron, and I already have your contact information via our inboxing messaging, and we'll get you set up for a 30-minute complimentary consultation, whether it's business or personal, with Mr. Ron Stallings to maybe get some business affairs in order. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. Thank y'all for having me, and thank you for the free consultation, Mr. Ron. I look forward to speaking to you.
So do I.
Thank you for tuning in and also calling in and listening in as well. All right.
No problem.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Wow.
Anything in the chat, Brother Malcolm, before we continue? Okay, we are moving on. Now, tell us, this is a great conversation, and good people, I hope that you are picking up these nuggets that are being dropped by Mr. Ron Stallings. Now, what are the common mistakes businesses make that impact their business score?
Real simple. They don't pay the bills on time.
That's it. Late
Yeah.
payments.
Yeah, it's same as personal.
Same as personal. Yeah.
And again, let me kind of level set.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you're an entrepreneur, you have so much going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got employees, you got inventory, you got marketing,
Yeah.
and I get it, you forget to pay it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an advocate of find somebody that can make sure you pay your bills on time,
Yes.
because now you got what they call a paydex score for the business side.
You said
So-
a paydex?
Paydex score.
Okay.
And
Paydex score.
that's a little different than a FICO score, but that's your
Okay.
business.
Okay.
And,
Okay. Okay.
Again, you can Google it and look.
Mhm. Yeah.
The higher the paydex score, the better
The
score you
Okay.
score you have.
Okay.
But again, to answer your question without getting real deep about it,
Mhm.
just pay your bills on time.
That'll do it.
Simple.
That's
So-
that. Yeah.
If you do have some that's negatively impacted with some slow pays, right? Because startups, it takes a while to generate cash flow, to have the revenue streams coming in to pay your bills.
Yeah.
So if you do have some, impact there, how long does it take to build it back up? Does it usually take?
It depends.
It depends.
What I would suggest, particularly for starter, let me go back a different way.
Okay.
What I would suggest is try to find suppliers that will extend you 60 or 90 days out.
Okay.
Most of them don't want to. I get it.
Yeah.
They want their money just like you want your money.
Exactly.
But once again, it doesn't hurt to ask,
Right.
hey, look, I'm just starting up. Can I get 60 days? No, let's agree on 45 days.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you a little cushion.
Right.
And then you should, from experience, have a day. All I'm doing is bookkeeping. What bills do I have? When
Yeah.
are they due?
Right.
Great.
Right.
Good idea.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
great point.
If you are just joining us or just basically
Good stuff.
tuning in, we are talking with a banking credit card expert and Ron Stallings. We are having a great conversation and dealing with credit and banking and finances and things of that nature. Now, let me ask you this. When starting a business,
Mhm.
what industries does a person need to stay away from when starting a business?
This gets very controversial, CJ, to be honest with you,
Okay.
because some will say stay away from, like I said, a trucking, beauty supplies.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not a proponent of that. Like
Okay.
I said, I think if you can show I'm going to make money,
Mhm.
your loan may not be 50,000, but you may
Yeah.
get 20.
Mm-hmm.
And as you
Mhm.
pay that, then they get you to 50.
Right.
So I'm not a proponent of stay away from XYZ
Mhm.
because everybody wants to make money.
Right. And
So
there's plenty of
why-
ways to do so.
Why would I tell you, well, just because you're an actor, I don't want that business.
Right. Right.
If you show
right.
me you're going to make money or you've made money,
Mm-hmm.
well, let's talk.
Right.
So again, you'll have different opinions on it, but my opinion is I wouldn't stay from any industry. Your job is to show banks, credit unions, investors
That's
Right.
right.
where you're going to make money.
Right.
That's right.
Because if you don't have a plan as to I'm going to be profitable in 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because investors will ask, let me see the books and see, and they don't mind. Like I can wait 6 months because they're investors. Or
Right. Right.
But if you
Right.
don't even have that, well,
Mhm.
6
So-
months, 6 years,
Yeah.
when am I going to get my money back?
Exactly.
Or you may
Exactly.
buy. And then here's the other thing that
Uh-oh.
that really is really important.
Tell us.
Most investors,
Mhm.
most credit unions,
Mhm.
is going to look to see how much skin in the game do you
You
have.
have.
Mhm.
Ah.
That's
We're
important.
so
Yik, 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 yik.
we're so
Yeah.
I want $50,000.
Right.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with asking.
Right.
But the question, and I'm sure you've seen it, and here's a good example. When you come to the car dealership, how much you going to put down?
How much you put down?
There you go.
You don't have to, but your rate is going to be higher.
Right.
Most businesses want to know, what kind of skin you got in the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then at the car dealership, if you got good credit, a lot of times they don't even ask you to put anything down.
A lot of-
Because you-
exactly.
You know how to
You
handle
know how to
money.
handle money.
Exactly.
But if you are saying, I'm putting my life savings in,
Uh-huh.
and here it is, laid out all
Yeah.
my bank
Yeah.
statement, they're like, you know what? I can work with you. You
Yeah.
willing to put everything on the line?
There
Yeah.
you go.
But if you like, I got $10,000 in the bank, I ain't touching that.
I ain't touching that.
CJ, I'm looking for you to loan me.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Because he's
Now-
such a good guy.
Now most
Right.
institutions won't tell you that, but they'll just proverbially ask that question. What do you have? What are you putting down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's their code words for how much skin you putting in the game.
Yeah, that's important.
You know, you brought up a point about refinancing, and I'll share this. When we built our house blissfully, you know, now 13 years ago, had a great rate, and it was a boatload of blessings. To be totally transparent is the way I usually put it. Now, when COVID hit, the great shutdown of 2020, I'm reading Yahoo Finance, and we had a great rate, but I'm like, oh, wait a minute, these rates are kind of dropping. I think we may need to
refinance.
Yeah, but and we did. But it worked out really well, and our closing cost was $100 because of the closing cost the first time. They gave us our earnest check back. So if you're in a position where you can and it makes sense, good financial sense, do so.
And I would say this too: when the pandemic hit, a lot of things changed.
Oh my gosh!
And here's why
oh
they
my
changed.
Gosh!
You're not going to a restaurant.
Yeah,
because everything's closed.
Everything's closed.
So, and banks know, car dealers, well, if you're not working, you can't pay it. So how do we keep CJ online in terms of a client if we don't adjust something?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that affected everybody around.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, but to your point, if it makes sense, and again, let's get back to something I said at the top of the show: ask questions.
Yeah.
Be educated.
Does this make sense? What's the pros? What's the cons? Am I starting all over, or are you picking up where I left off? Because just to get to the bottom line, I'd say $300. There may be some fine print.
Yeah.
And I think we have time for one more point. What about, you mentioned business plan. So talk a little bit about what goes in that business plan. What are the elements to putting it together, to putting a structure around it? What does that look like?
Yeah.
Everything from marketing, your products, who's going to get salaries, what's the role of those individuals, what banks are looking for when they ask for your business plan, or even an investor. Have you thought this through?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go into buying widgets. Okay, is there a market for widgets?
Right.
Am I going to sell it on the north side, south side, all over the city?
Right.
And what research did you do to find that out? So
market
it is
research.
Exhausting to put a plan together, because you want to portray and show, I know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Exactly.
I have researched this. I even know the best months to buy widget is September. Come November, it drops off the table. Oh, okay. More people will look at your plan with all of that in it, versus you just, I'm gonna do widgets.
Right.
And you start asking just basic questions.
Yeah.
Who's gonna run the business? Well, I'm gonna do it when I get off work.
That's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
But you want $50,000.
Right. That's very similar to we watch a lot of Shark Tank. And they want to know how much skin you have in the game. You know, are you still working? Or when they say, well, I quit my job, I'm like, oh, okay.
You got my attention.
Okay.
Because you're serious about this.
Yeah.
Like when you're serious, I'm serious.
See?
Right.
That's
But
right.
if you're like, I'm at work, and I'm gonna have the kids go in there running.
No.
Like, okay. God bless you.
You got somebody in the chat?
We have a comment.
We have one. We have make it really quick.
Bird Sinatra, you should go in a business where your strengths are.
Hello.
Great point, Bird.
Hello.
Yeah, we agree.
What was that?
Your strengths are, and again, let's kind of look at that, where you do things that comes easy to you. It's not arduous. It's not takes a lot of time. You know that old saying, I could if I didn't get paid for this, I would do it.
It's basically like, I know we got just several seconds left. Your gifts will make room for you, right?
Yeah.
Now, if the last person chimes in, just chime in to Malcolm right now. The last person, that person will receive the second 30-minute consultation, business or personal, with Ron Stalling. So send us your information. Just chime in right now, right now.
Closing.
Yes. So go ahead and take us out, Coach Rowe.
Okay. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I mean, just to sum everything up, and thank you, Ron. Excellent insight and perspective.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So, sum it all up, 2 words: credit matters. It's important to protect it think about it like preserving your reputation and your image, right? Because you talking about skin in the game. That's something that you want to preserve, right? So take care of your credit, manage your debt, and keep your credit score high. It does impact your life, and we want you to build a better future.
Yes.
Thanks again for tuning in, and be sure to like us and follow us on social media. I love you, and be sure to love yourself.
Putting you back together again, Coach Rowe and CEE JAY.
Is that what you want? Oh, is it still on?
1, 2, 3.